Sir, now I come to the last 2 points. The Finance Minister has announced modification of sections 115 to export companies. While it is a welcome thing, again, this whole scheme of minimum tax is counterproductive and pernicious. What was the scheme? Investment allowance was given. Some companies grew in size 8 times, 10 times, and did not pay tax because they took advantage of these provisions. Now there was an uproar, and you said that whatever our profits, 30% we have to pay. You said investment allowance will not be there, and instead of you deposit money with IDBI, that much rebate you will get. What happens in practice? The Indian companies, the efficient companies, the growing companies are companies which are hit. Who has got spare money to put with the IDBI? Only the multinational companies would do what, because they have no intention of growing, they have no interest in the Indian economy, they have only interest in computers and Pepsi Cola, they are not interested in employment. So they can put money in IDBI, which is again temporary borrowing, which I have discussed earlier, and they get all the rebate. An Indian company is committed to India, committed to employment growth. It is put to disadvantage. This provision of investment allowance under section 115, the finance minister has reconsidered only for export companies. I submit that the entire scheme of section 115 should be scrapped and investment allowance should be restored to what was there for so many years. It has stood the test of the time. This idea was company stand to lose and the foreign companies stand to gain. This is no issue. You must have a total relook at this scheme. I want to say two more things. The finance bill has got a lot of provisions which are supposed to be novel, like uniform accounting. Some bureaucrats from somewhere has come out. What is uniform accounting here? It means that everybody must have the same accounting year. It makes no sense in a time when computerization is there, in a time when each tax SSC is given a code number and cross-checking can be done. Sir, it makes no difference to me as a private entrepreneur, but it makes difference to me as members of parliament. Our tax system will be under severe strain. The quality of assessment will go down further. Tax evasion will become more rampant. These are all the things that are going to happen, and they are the most pernicious things. Certain corrupt officials will wield more powers. It is totally uncalled for. These kind of refinements, as they call them, are totally uncalled for. The real objective of the direct tax bill should be to effectively collect tax in a simple way. I will give some more examples of the changes made in this finance bill. For instance, the finance bill, the budget proposal said that for alcohol and scrap, 60% of the sale value will be counted as income. After a lot of noise, the finance minister has been kind enough to bring it down to 35% or 40%, but I want to know why alcohol. What will happen in a mechanism like this is that the scale proceeds will be shown at a lesser value and the government will not get the tax. This kind of refinements are not understood. They are arbitrary. Why can't the income tax officer do an assessment for which he is paid? It is wholly uncalled for. I request section 44AC should be totally deleted. It is a pernicious section. Finally, I come to a point of search, seizure and raids, popularly called raids, and enforcement machinery. In early 1960s, a proposal was introduced in this Income Tax Act that due to rampant evasion, income tax authorities should have the power to search the premises of a tax SSC and to seize any documents which show revenue concealment. Sir, I would like to know from the Finance Minister the total amount spent on searches and seizures in the last 27 years and the total revenue, if any, the government was able to get as a result of these searches and seizures. Every time we read about some big business houses or monopoly houses being not good, and when a monopoly house was raided, it becomes a big news. That is only done sometime of to have sensational news for public. That is only done sometime to have sensational news for public. But what do we see today? One day we read in the newspaper the name is given that Mr. So and so has been raided and so much concealment of income has been found. By this we have successfully destroyed his reputation whatever he had in the social circles. Sir, I strongly oppose the statutory resolution moved by the Honorable Home Minister to approve the continuance in force of Article 356. This is an article which has an anti-federal and anti-democratic character. No other constitution in the world is having this painful clause except Pakistan. If you go through the constitution of the United States, Canada, Australia and Switzerland, you will find that no federal government is having the right to remove state governments. Unfortunately, our founding fathers have incorporated this clause in our constitution. Sir, the Government of India Act 1935 also deals with taking the powers of the states as well as taking the power of the government at the center. The British government during their period incorporated two sections in the Act for taking the powers of both the governments. But our founding fathers, conveniently for the comfort of the center, have incorporated the clause to take the state government under the control of the president. The Act of 1935 was opposed by the Congress party because of these two sections which assign the power to the governor and the governor general to take the control of state and federal governments respectively. The Act of 1935 was opposed by saying that it is a black act. The principle of taking over the state government was opposed during the freedom struggle, but unfortunately it is now abundantly followed by our government. That is why I am to say that I am basically opposed to that article and I register my protest against the article itself. Sir, we know well that in the past this has been utilized not in the interest of the nation, not for protecting democracy, not for protecting the federal principle, but rather to protect the interests of the party at the center, either Congress or Janta. This article has been utilized only for the benefit of the party, not for national interest. Now the question arises whether this article has been properly utilized in the case of Kashmir or not. Sir, we know well that in the President's address, the governor was lauded and complimented by the government, saying he has restored democracy, the situation has improved, the entire nation would be thankful to my friend and so on. After some time, the Congress party is not in a position to tolerate the government of my friend. So it removed and set that government from power by utilizing Article 356, but at the same time, it did not dissolve the assembly. But now, sir, on the eve of the elections of the Rajya Sabha, the assembly was dissolved for the interest for the party in power at the center. Therefore, it is totally exercised for the benefit of the party here. That is not only in this case but also in other areas. I am to remind the House that the government is not serious about the elimination of terrorism in Kashmir. Sir, they thought that the state government is not competent to deal with the situation effectively. But what do we see now? President's rules has totally failed to arrest the situation. Rather, it has escalated during this period of President's rule. Sir, for the last 1 year, it has been reported in the press more than 2,000 people have been killed by the terrorists. Since January alone, 750 innocent people have been killed by the terrorists. What steps have been taken by the government?